We had two big World Tour week-long stage races this week, with the race to the sun being Paris-Nice and the race of the two seas Tirreno-Adriatico. Here I take you through the conclusions from both races. My first conclusion of the races is more of a question really to you all. Is Tadej Pogacar's stage race dominance becoming boring? We'll park his one-day record to the side, because that frankly was epic. What he did at Strade Bianche, what he did at Liège and in Lombardia last year. So we're just talking about his stage races, and the Tour 2020 was excellent, but after that, Tirreno, Slovenia, the Tour, UAE, both last year and this year, and Tirreno this year as well. We know the result before the race is started, before a pedal is turned into anger, and barring any crash, we know Tadej Pogacar is going to win. This week, he was fantastic. Not his fault that he is a million times better than everybody else. But he won stage 4 at a canter in the sprint. He then strolled away from Landa, Vingegaard and Enric Mas on stage 6 to Carpegna. And it's just, I personally, and a lot of people I've seen on Twitter, are bored of the ease at which he wins stage races. So, is he? Are you bored of Tadej Pogacar winning stage races? My second conclusion is that Primoz Roglic's French curse is finally over. We had, in 2018, back then at the Tour de France, he was on the podium heading into the final time trial, only for Chris Froome to overtake him on that TT. He completely did it wrong. And since then, he hasn't really done very well in France. In 2020, he crashed and didn't finish the Dauphiné. We all then know about how he choked at the Tour that year on the final TT again. Last year, he crashed on the final day and lost the lead of the Paris-Nice. And at the Tour, obviously, he sadly crashed out of the race as well. So it did appear that he had a French curse. And there was a wobble, definite wobble, and I'll get on to more of that in a minute. But he managed to fight for his life and finally get rid of that French curse and win Paris-Nice. Conclusion number 3 is just how strong JumboVisma were at Paris-Nice. They took control of the race from day one, where they did that amazing 1-2-3, giving Christophe Laporte a fantastic win. They backed it up in the crosswinds on day 2. Another 1-2-3, this time with Rohan Dennis, with Roglic and Van Aert in the individual time trial. Then Roglic himself took control, thanks to some great work by Rohan Dennis in the mountain stages. And today, arguably without Wout van Aert, Roglic would not have won Paris-Nice. So for JumboVisma, it has effectively been the perfect race. Laporte won his first World Tour stage. He wore yellow, great for the French. Wout van Aert won the TT, Roglic won the stage, and then they won the GC. Well done, JumboVisma. My next conclusion, we'll take a look at the favourites for the Giro and how they got on in both of their races. Mikel Landa, back from various injuries, had a very aggressive race and finished on the podium. Still struggled in the TT, but podium nonetheless. Jai Hindley refound a bit of form and was in the top 6. Giulio Ciccone was where he normally is, in and around the group but ultimately dropping, finished 8th. In Paris-Nice, we had Simon Yates, who looked fantastic, very strong individual time trial, and he would finish on the podium, very nearly winning the race. Joao Almeida had a bit of a yo-yo week. He finished well on the summit finish yesterday, but then lost a lot of time in the crosswinds. And finally, Carapaz had to abandon on, I think it was stage 4 of Tirreno or stage 3 because of either a crash or illness, I can't remember. The other leader for Ineos, Teo Gegenhardt, looked good, looked like he finally showed some life, only to get a respiratory illness on that cold day. My 5th conclusion is that we now know the level of Remco Evenepoel against the best. Came into the race not knowing where he was up against the likes of Pogacar, Landa, and now we do. He's excellent time trial where he put a bit of time into Pogacar. He survived reasonably well the hilly stages, losing out in the sprints, and the big day, the big test for him was going to be up the Monte Carpegna, and it was a cold day which didn't help. He suffered in the cold, but we now know where he's at. He is getting better. I think we can see that in the mountains. He just needs to, well, he said himself, find that 30 to 40 watts that will see him up in that group. He's got a long time until the Vuelta. Can he work on it this season? Of course. Where will he be by the Vuelta? Who knows? But at least now we know where Remco Evenepoel needs to progress to win. My final conclusion is looking ahead to MilanSan Remo and where the favourites are form-wise leading into this race. We'll start with Mads Pedersen, who won a stage 3 in Paris-Nice. Very tough stage with a lot of hills. You could see it as Sanremo training, and he won. Great result for him. Beat Wout van Aert in the sprint, although obviously Wout van Aert crashed as well that day. Jasper Philipsen struggled a little bit in Paris-Nice with the wind and finished 4th on that same stage 3. I think he's a dark horse. It's just whether Alpecin Fenix can deliver him onto the Poggio to win in a position that he could get over the climb and win the race. Obviously, you've got to factor in Pogacar. We know he's going well. He will attack probably on the Cipressa. But other sprinters, Damar is yo-yoing form. Ewan looks pretty solid and he's climbing better than ever as well. So he, at this stage, is my favourite to win Sanremo. The unknowns haven't raced for a couple of weeks, like Pidcock. Ganna will need it to be aggressive for Ineos. So yeah, those are the favourites. Obviously, Wout van Aert on form, ready, riding hard, is a big favourite for Sanremo as well.